All right, Coach, right when you are.
All right, thank you, Charlie. Get rolling. First things I had hit with the team this afternoon in our team meeting. It was our Tell the Truth Monday, and started off just by saying, like, for us, the scars are hard, but the lessons they're deep. And one thing I like, man, our team showed a lot of resilience and a lot of fight. Excellent. And I would say we recaptured some of that, and that was needed. I felt the energy they displayed for one another. I felt it on the field, on the sideline. It was there all night, and that was a good deal. These moments matter. These close fights matter. Like afterwards in the locker room, I said, man, this was like two teams throwing blow back and forth to one another, and those are the fights that matter. You love being in them. And I thought, although the 2-point conversion didn't go our way, a lot of the other winning time moments did, and I thought that was a big part. In this game, we played some complimentary football, hit some punt, had some field position, so there were some things about it that I like, not to be confused. Hate the result. So all that to say, ready to get started with you guys. And any questions you want to start with?
Go ahead, John Keim.
Dan, with Tavita leaving, what's the plan now for quarterbacks coach?
David Blau will take the responsibilities of Tavita for the rest of the regular season, and like definitely been prepared for this at this position or at others, knowing that when opportunities are there for a guy to elevate like Tavita, we've got a good succession plan in place, and David would be a big part of that.
And then with Jaden, what is the plan this week? And how much, if he's not yet clear for contact, how much would you need to see him practice full before putting him back in the game?
Yeah, part of it's a little different, John, at the position because of it's not the normal contact like a linebacker or a running back. So it's more of the functional contact. Think of stiff arm on a bag. Think of, diving on the ground. So there's like more functional movements that he'll go through. He did some of that today, and he'll do more of that during the week. So the practice portion for him throwing like ripped a bunch today and threw it hard. It's the functional movement, John, that he'll continue to work with. So some of that actually will be in an individual and working to the side, but we'll continue to work that part, and that's the step that we need to see from I'd say like a functional evaluation, functional contact, and it's not traditional in the sense of like taking a hit.
Nikki.
Hi, Dan. Just curious your general thoughts of the offensive line play, especially going against Denver's pass rush, but also just overall this season.
Yeah, let's start just first with the game. I think that with going in, I thought this is a team that really has, kind of showed who they can be, from the pass rush standpoint. So we thought going in, this would be some runs and the play action passing game. I thought that was the real key to it, Nikki. If we could even have some runs that weren't, there might be a 0 or 1 yard, and then stay with it to have some of the run actions come to life. And so I thought that was the biggest thing. But I was pleased with the pass protection in the game. It just felt like that they were up for the challenge. It's a very good pass rushing unit, blitzing as well. And I thought the running backs protected well. So that part I was pleased with.
And just looking at the 5 up front, I mean, how have they gelled together, especially with Laramie coming in, Chris Paul stepping into a bigger role? How have you kind of seen them become more cohesive?
Yeah, I thought it might have been Sam's best game, so that was good. That I would feel like, bigger comp, from I'm talking about across the board for them to go. Not that they had to play talented guys, he does that all the time, but I just thought their stunts, their blitz package, that part was good. I felt like him and Josh have felt more cohesive. And like that continuity is helping Nikki because now they've been in that rhythm, a good bit together. Chris and Laramie had quite a bit of reps together, but now the fact that, the combinations with Sam and Josh, that's a big deal. And I thought Biotis also, were ones on the pass protection side, maybe Sam and Josh and Tyler. I thought some of their best, jobs in pass protection.
Tom.
And so just to clarify, has Jaden been cleared for contact?
Yep, not yet, Tom. He's still going through that process of the functional testing. And so I'll have a better sense as we go through the week, probably in terms of like the game, Tom, it'll be all the way till Friday, quite honestly, because the practice portions that'll be ongoing in terms of like the evaluation and the movements and the contact. So he has not been for all the way through all the testing yet, Tom.
Then, I mean, if he's able to come back, and it kind of closes the chapter on Marcus's stint here as starter, what have you learned about him that maybe you didn't know coming into this season?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've known the leadership, but yesterday, like when it's time to like will the team to go do that, that's really what I saw. I thought the play passes and using his arm, using his legs to go, Tom. I thought that came through, but in some of the winning time moments, just throwing absolute dimes. I thought it was like a warrior performance at quarterback. And sometimes those are hits and you stay in, you make them. But I had known who the leader was, but that solidified, just an absolute man, like put it on me kind of performance to go find a way.
David Aldridge.
Dan, how did Will Harris look to you in his first game back in a while?
Yeah, it was man, it was good to have Will and Terry back into it, David. I thought I knew Will would tackle. This guy's a tough competitor, and that part was good. I liked the disguise that he had, and I thought that was going to be a big part for us in this game. Could we change some of the looks post snap and going in practice, he was on it, going in, and that just kind of carried into the game. I like Jeremy and Quan and him and moving those guys into some different spaces. But I thought it was a good first outing, David, for not being in it for a good while. That was a good start, and he was conditioned. He was ready to go. I thought that was a big first step.
Jeremy's snap count obviously went down some with Will being back. I just wondered, like, do you sense any improvement from him or more energy from him on teams now that he doesn't have to play quite as many snaps on defense?
I did, and I think it's important because we knew this was going to be a good matchup teams wise as well. And so to see him covering, not just on punt where he's the PP, and that's a big job, but on kickoff and having his space, he's exceptional at some of the special teams jobs. So we found his way, still made his mark on the defensive side, but I liked the balance, David, of where he was at in this game because he can impact both units. And that's a big deal for us when we add him and Ballore and Owens and Butler. Now you feel this speed and this energy take off. He's one of our fastest players. And so where do those speeds show up a lot? Long plays, fourth downs, kickoff return. So that's where I feel him the most.
Deshaun.
Dan, I know last night you mentioned a couple of times liking what you saw from the run defense. Were there other areas of the defense that you thought could have been better, or you would have liked to see be sharper against the Broncos?
Yeah, I thought we made just the one takeaway, Deshaun. I thought that's one spot. I didn't think there was a lot of chances for other ones. On the sack, I thought the ball came out, but he went right back to him. But just finishing on some of those runs, see if we can force some fumbles. That's a big deal for us. We're still trying to dig into, like pass rush and keep improving upon that. But, creating more ways, Deshaun, to take the ball away, create a short field, give the offense an advantage. That to me is a big deal.
JP.
Hey, Dan, I'm just curious. Obviously, you've got veterans playing all over the field at a high level. Bobby has the pick. Zach goes over 100 yards. How do you gauge, or is there a time in the season where even though veterans are playing at a high level, you want to see younger guys get more snaps, get more opportunities to see what they've got?
Yeah, I think you want to see the balance of both, JP. It's winning now, which like these moments matter. Although we're not going to have a winning record, JP, that doesn't mean you're not creating like winning habits and standards and fundamentals. But a guy like Burks, I know he's not, a first year player, but he's new to us. And so to see him take his space and go, seeing McGee extended reps, I do want to see both winning now, seeing those guys perform, but also the development of some others. We got our first look at TJ. We got our, first experience at some of those guys. So that's an important piece too, JP. But I get where you're coming, and we're going to try to thread that needle of both. And I think it's important to do that.
Thank you.
Scott.
Hey, Dan, even though you didn't win that game last night, how can you build on a performance like that? Because I think a lot of people feel like that was probably one of the best team performances the Commanders have shown this season.
Yeah, it's you want to take the next step, right, Scott? That's the deal. Because you ask any player or coach, there's no moral victory here. There's not, a way to go. But what I did see, were we better than the team a week before? And that was the challenge, Scott, to say, can we level it up? From the team that played Miami and Madrid. And I said, in 1 week's time, we did that. We found things to improve upon. We found spaces to go, and that's the challenge, man. Can we go dig in for that again? And if we can, that's the goal, man. Can we stack and get better and better? And so that's what we'll dig on these 5 weeks. That's, where we're trying to go for it, man. I loved being in this fight the whole way through. You could feel the energy sideline all the way through. It felt more complimentary. We didn't make it on offense. We punted. We put them back. We, got a stop, got field position. Those were things that felt more like we recaptured. And I think that's an important piece, Scott. So maybe that's some of those things are what I would take from it. Ultimately, we got to go win it. But I did feel like it was a step in the right directions on some of those things.
And you obviously been juggling a couple of hats the last couple of weeks, second straight game, calling the defensive plays, also being the head coach. Have you found your rhythm? Have you found your groove? How have you felt kind of juggling both hats?
It definitely took into the second week. I feel much more settled in week 2, the week 1 version, and then adding the trip, to Spain. I thought all of that space with the guys, it took me probably till game day till I felt, comfortable in that. And then this week, we found a great structure. Joe's been incredibly supportive, Scott, to help and assist, and we kind of found our rhythm together quickly. We had plenty of experience doing that before together, and so I certainly appreciated him stepping into that space with me as well. So it took probably 2 weeks, Scott, to finally capture the flow and the rhythm of it, team meetings, defensive meetings, that type of thing. But I feel in a good space today.
Donna.
Hey, Coach. Talking to some of the players yesterday, they talked about as far as being stalled sometimes during out the season inside the 40, but it seems like they were able to really operate and move the ball well. How did you see the offense movement, inside the 40 moving forward?
Yeah, that's a big piece, right? We said when we got down in the red zone, we were scoring. It was that spot crossing midfield to go. We even punted on some of these, where, we might have stalled on some, but seeing us, I thought commitment in the run game, the play action passed on, I thought those were some things that were a big piece of that. Doesn't mean you're going to make all of them and get down into the red zone, but seeing us long drives in this game, that was a big deal for us. 10 plays, 11 plays, I think at the end of regulation might have been like 18 plays. And so that's a big deal when you put that onto a defense, because then that pass rush isn't as effective as the 8th, 9th, 10th play of a drive goes. So having them be extended, that was a big deal.
And you talked a little bit about the pass rush, trying to improve that. How can you be more aggressive and maybe more pressure there, getting to the quarterback? I saw that you blitz a little bit more. Frankie was in on some of those things. How do you see that moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's by the game. What do you need to see for the quarterback? Sometimes the disguise, Donna, can be the most effective way to disrupt the QB. And what I mean by that is, let's say it was a young QB and you played all man to man. Well, he knew where the ball was, where the coverage was. If you're playing, I'm not talking about Knicks. I'm talking about just in football life. Other times being disruptive, showing one thing before the snap, showing something else after the snap, that can be disruptive. And he hadn't got sacked a lot this season. And so sometimes winning would be disrupting, moving outside the pocket, getting the person to move. Other times it's literally about getting the hit, getting the sack. And so I think it depends a little bit by game, but yeah, when we can take our shot, we will. I want to be bold, but making sure like we're not the explosive. That's a big deal, Donna. And I want to make sure we're leveling that and finding our space to do that better so we can play smart, competitively, tough. But yeah, I'll dig into anything to, to find the right balance.
Howard.
Hi, Dan. Just
Yeah,
wanted to
Howard.
follow up on what John was asking before. With David moving up as Pritchard leaves, is somebody going to move up to take over David's old role?
Yeah, it actually will be, as it goes through the whole season, David will take on the responsibilities of Tavita. As we're going to go, it's a position that, from a league standpoint, we'll go through all the proper protocols that we need, but we're excited about David Blau. This is a really cool op and hit for him to go. Brian Johnson will also lean in, Howard, on some of the responsibilities. So we kind of split up, some of the things that Tavita did, and Brian will pick up, some of that gap as well. Brian Johnson, I'm talking about, Howard.
And will there be a new assistant?
Not in
quarterback coach?
season, not in season.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like Terry was kind of, in theory, on limited play time or snap count, but that kind of went out the window a little bit as the game went on. Just wondering if you have a sense of whether there will be more progress this coming week. Could he be sort of more like full go, or you're not sure yet?
I'm not sure yet, Howard, but I was encouraged by it. I thought the way that it went during the week last week, he pushed it really hard Wednesday, Thursday. We backed off Friday, and it allowed him to go. And you're right, the first half was somewhat limited. And then as the game progressed, there weren't lots of possessions back and forth. Both teams were able to, do some drives. So to see him in those most critical moments, Howard, I think that was the big push to say, can we find those spaces, where he's got to be able to be available. And so he was absolutely ready for that challenge. So I thought that was a good sign. There was no setbacks from yesterday. So that's also a good sign. And yeah, that's the goal that you want to get. Can we take the next? Can we take the next? And we're also encouraged, hopefully, there'll be some more guys, on that way back as well. As we get into practice, it's Noah and, that part of receiver as well. So we're making progress, man.
All right, we got time for two more. Let's go Ben and then Candy.
Dan, this is more of a future question, but I'll just ask it now. You obviously chose to have Joe Witt be your defensive coordinator because part of your thinking was you wanted to delegate a bit more. Now that you've done this a couple games, is there a world where you could be the play caller next year?
I think, yeah, there's a possibility of that. As we're going through it, I'm finding a battle rhythm to go. So I'm not sure where I'm at on that yet, Ben. I haven't, discussed or gone down that road too far yet, but yeah, I would say that's a possibility.
Hey, Coach. So with looking at the wide receiver group, I mean, there's been so much movement, as you know, due to injuries with that group. So what can you just say about that group and just the overall preparation from Cliff to Bobby Ingram and the players themselves and how they've dealt with this adversity?
Yeah, it's a great topic, Candy, because I do like to see, where it's going with certain guys, and now adding Terry back in, and Trayvon took on a bigger role. I thought, I didn't really get a good view of his catch until watching it late last night, because man, that was unbelievable. And so I thought it was in the far sideline from where I'm at, so I didn't get a chance to see that view. But moments like that, seeing Bobby and Andre Coleman, and the other players too, making sure they're looking after one another and making that as lots of early mornings to get to that spot. Like Jacoby Jones has been in, Corey had been in, different people, Robbie Chosen, Chris Moore, all the way down the line. So finding some continuity, that's been challenging, but I was really pleased with, seeing some of the guys make some big plays, and especially as the game wore on, especially in the second half.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right. We will see everybody on Wednesday.
See
Thanks,
you.
Dan.